What if I told you a country entered the Russia-Ukraine war without firing a single bullet? No headlines, no explosions, just a move so quiet that Russia didn't notice until it started hurting. Stay with me, because what Japan just did could change the future of this war and global power forever. No tanks crossed borders, no missiles lit up the sky, and yet something quietly changed the balance of power in the Russia-Ukraine war. While the world's attention remained locked on Eastern Europe, Japan made a move so subtle, so calculated, that many didn't notice at first. But when Moscow finally did, it was already too late to ignore. Japan, long known for its pacifist constitution and careful diplomacy, did not enter the war with weapons on the battlefield. Instead, it stepped in through strategy, economics, technology, and alliances. And that silent entry may prove more powerful than a loud one. For Russia, this was unexpected. For the global order, it was a warning. And for the war itself, it may be a turning point. To understand why Japan's involvement matters, we must first understand who Japan really is on the global stage. Japan is the third largest economy in the world, a technological superpower, and a key ally of the United States. For decades, it stayed militarily restrained due to its post-World War II constitution. But restraint does not mean weakness, and Russia knows this well. Japan sits dangerously close to Russian territory, especially in the Far East, where unresolved disputes over the Kuril Islands still exist. These tensions never disappeared. They simply slept. When the Russia-Ukraine war began, Japan initially responded cautiously. But behind the scenes, Tokyo was watching closely, studying how modern wars are fought, how sanctions cripple economies, and how alliances shape outcomes. Then came the realization. If Russia succeeds in Ukraine, it changes the rules everywhere, including Asia. Japan's first major move came not with soldiers, but with sanctions. Tokyo joined Western nations in imposing strict economic sanctions on Russia, targeting banks, exports, and high-tech components. This was critical, because Russia depends heavily on foreign technology, especially in aviation, energy, and advanced manufacturing. But Japan went further. It quietly cut Russia off from critical semiconductor supply chains, restricted dual-use technology, and reduced energy cooperation. These steps didn't make headlines, but they hit Russia where it hurts most, long-term capability. At the same time, Japan increased logistical and humanitarian support for Ukraine, signaling political alignment without direct military escalation. And then came the strategic shift. Japan began strengthening defense ties with NATO countries, hosting joint military exercises, increasing intelligence cooperation, and accelerating its own military modernization. This wasn't noise. This was preparation. From Moscow's perspective, Japan was never expected to be a major factor in a European war. Russia's focus remained fixed on NATO, the U.S., and Ukraine. Asia, especially Japan, was considered secondary. That assumption may have been a costly mistake. Japan's actions forced Russia to stretch its strategic attention. Suddenly, Moscow had to think about its eastern flank again, naval movements, airspace security, and regional alliances in the Pacific. This matters because wars aren't won only on battlefields. They are won by who gets exhausted first. By quietly increasing pressure from the East, economically, diplomatically, and strategically, Japan contributed to a situation where Russia must now defend multiple interests at once. And perhaps most importantly, Japan shifts in a powerful message to China and the world. Neutrality is no longer guaranteed. Japan's silent entry does not mean soldiers in Ukraine or missiles in Moscow. It means something far more lasting. It means the Russia-Ukraine war is no longer just a European conflict. It is a global stress test of power, alliances, and rules. Japan has shown that modern warfare includes economic pressure, technological control, strategic positioning, alliance expansion, and these tools can be just as decisive as tanks and artillery. For Russia, this means the cost of the war keeps rising, not just in Ukraine, but across its global relationships. For Japan, this marks a historic shift from passive observer to active strategic player. And for the world, it raises a serious question. If Japan has quietly stepped in, Who might be next? Because in today's wars, the loudest moves aren't always the most dangerous. Sometimes, the most powerful actions are the ones you don't hear until they've already changed everything. If you want more deep analysis like this that mainstream media won't explain, hit subscribe and turn on notifications.